Hi and welcome to Angling For You. Today you join me at the lovely and rather windy Owsten Ferry. We're going to have a little look at the pellet feeder. Now today we're after predominantly carp. We've got a selection of baits. Let's put this down here, and mainly we're going to be using corn in conjunction with the pellet. Now the system that you go for a pellet feeder is so varied, and there's so many different varieties and so many different ways of fishing the pellet feeder, so many different pellet feeders. So today I'm going to just go through one of the methods that I use to do this. Now first I'll start off with a bait and then we'll come on to the tackle. So the bait, really simple. This venue is known for sort of fishy baits and things like that. So I've started with soaked 2mm krill pellets. They're so new baits ones, really easy to get from tackle shops all over the country. The second thing that I've got is again Sonu baits, but this one is milled expander. So again it's krill flavoured, and all I've done is dampen that down, and what I'm doing is I'm adding sort of 2 parts of pellet to 1 part of the milled expander, and that's just really, the milled expander doesn't really, it's not really like a method mix. It dissolves in the water, it creates sort of a haze in the water, and it's obviously got that fishy flavour. So mainly it's an attractive proposition for a fish. Now when it comes to other hookable baits, this is where it starts to get a bit of a blurred line and people start to get a little bit confused. So I bring always, when I fish the pellet, I always bring a selection of baits. So excuse me, the juicy fruits here, all different types of bandems. What I mean by bandems is the little dumbbell shaped little pop-ups, and they'll just have a neutral, they call neutral buoyancy, which means they'll just take the weight of the hook and they'll stand up. And I've got those in white and orange as well in there, in a different flavour. And I've got these soft pellets from Monster Baits, but we'll go into those in another video. The other baits I've got in here, as I always have, is a selection of different hard mill pellets. Right guys, a quick go through the rig. So I'm going to hold it up to camera. So this is actually a matrix feeder. It's sort of a flatbed hybrid style feeder with a stem. I've got to be running up and down on the line. Most fisheries expect you to do that nowadays. So that's down to a quick change speed, and then we've got about 5 inches of 019 pout reflow power, and that's down to a KKMB 16 with a quick stop for the cord, and obviously got a band for using the the pellets and all the bandems and things like that. Rod is a Dow Yanken Bank 11 foot, and that's with a ninja reel, and that's 6 pound die or hyper sensor all the way through, and simple as that really. Let's get back on the box, we'll have a look where we're throwing it to and see if we can have another. Have you noticed too, when I catch them here, they go, these littler ones, they go straight out and then they come straight in at you at full speed. Try to get under your feet. Lovely little mirror. Catch them all day. Lovely fish. Right, so just explain where I'm casting. So when you set up your fish feeder, you want to look at fishing to a feature. If you know the venue, and you know, for example, this one has got a sunken island, but this time of year, wind's blowing across and towards, reeds are always a good bet to fish to. This one's a bit unique because you can fish directly to a reed, or you can fish down the side of them. And a lot of the times I sort of fish parallel to that reed. Allows you to get the fish out, and plus there's allows fish to come in and come out. So I've just quick stopped that corn. Some people band them. I just find that they do squash a little bit and they don't last as long for the cast. As you see, we've got short hair, so it just sits on the bend of the hook. Really important when you're tying your rigs, is that you don't leave too much of a hair, unless you know you're going to put sort of double corn on or a bigger pellet. It's good to test that when you're tying your rig. So once you got your feed in, today you got to the wind, it's quite windy, but it's coming towards me, so it's just a little bit more of a punch rather than playing for the wind. So make sure you leave enough line, swing it forward, swing it back, and then forward, hit the line clips a little bit left of where I aimed there, but we're about there. And make sure you sink that line, especially when it's windy. It's important anyway, but when it's windy, it's can be blown across the surface pretty sharpish. Important as well when you set your feeder up to make sure that the tip's as close to the water as possible, and that allows you to see the bites, especially when it's windy. Right, just into the third fish of the session, which just got one of the lads over having a chat, and that nearly took my rod in the water. Which is a good example of what I'll tell you is when you put your feeder on your rod. I mean, you shouldn't walk off and leave it, don't do that, but always put your eye behind the back of the end of your rest, because then it won't pull it off unless you hook something really silly. It's another nice little mirror. We were just discussing together that you tend to catch mirrors here. There's a lot of stock in mirrors. You don't catch as many commons. It's more mirror carp, but there is some beautiful kois in here, and these little beauties are in fantastic condition. I'll just get him back with his friends and get. Important when you're feeder fishing as well to sort of get yourself in a system. So you can see I've got everything to hand underneath my tray. I've got normally I'd have my overalls on, but I couldn't find them, I'll be honest, this morning. So I always have these Drennan towels that clip onto you, just to put on your knees so you're not getting soaked with this wind blowing towards you. You'll soon get cold. I've got my rest straight down to my hand. I can pick that straight up. My net's to hand. These things are really important. People sort of that may be new to fishing, or people that have fished a while and sort of get themselves in a bit of a mess when they hook the fish or the lander fish. These are the kind of things that you need to have a look at. You set up, people joke about it that are not in fishing about all the stuff that you have, but there really is a reason to it. And laying it out and spending the extra time when you start, and I've seen it lots of times in matches when you see people and they're not, they've got all the gear ready and they've got everything and the bait done and that, but they don't put their net, they forget the net and it's behind them, or it's not in the right place. This way you're not going to bump any fish, you're not going to lose any fish, you've got everything to where it needs to be, and it's quick and easy to access. So important when you're fishing, about having all that to hand. So again, taking into consideration for that rain, for that wind, it's a little bit left again, but bang on the same as where we had it before, and we had a fish, so I'm not too fussed. This kind of wind, it was in his face, but it is a little bit swirly out there, so yeah, as you can see on my rest, that eye is bunched up against the head of the rest, and that stops it from coming out. I would suggest getting a rest top like that or something. I mean, people, they'll have what they like. Some people like the ones that are sort of a longer traditional one with slats in it. You know, I've had them in the past. Personally, I like these kind of rests, the sort of U-shaped ones. The rod can sort of slope down and sit into it, and your eye can slip behind it. That's just what I find useful. But like I said, it's up to you what you want to fish with. And you can see that wind's picking up now. But another reason as to why I got this side tray, because I used to have the big side tray, as you all know if you've watched the videos. I used to have the mega side tray, which were great, but you needed to put the legs down and everything, which, you know, it's not a problem. But now it's starting to spit a bit. I've got the top on it, the wind's there, all my stuff's not blowing about, it's all under here, it's all safe, don't have to worry about it. And that's sort of, again, a part of preparing. Plus this one don't have any legs, it's really got really strong clips, this Preston one. I got on well great with it, but I mean, it's each to their own. But we've had three fish on reasonably quick succession, actually. They've all been within sort of the 10-minute mark between each other, which, when it's quite cold, and we know we're into May now, but it's not last May when it was sort of in the 20s, 25, 30 degree mark when we had that heat wave. It's 10 degrees today, and that wind is cold, and believe me, that water is definitely cold. Into another fish now. Feels like another carp, and not a tench. I just had a couple of tench just off camera. Only sort of about a pound in size. Just another little carp. Let's get him in the net. I'm back into another. Feels a bit bigger, this one as well.
Certainly having a go in it.
Can put it back and you got it back on. Just into another fish now. Feels a little bit bigger in size. Slow and steady. Notice that we've just got the rod. We're not bullying it. We've got the drag set. Got the rod nice and low. Gently bringing it back, and then winding towards the fish. If it wants to go like now, still the rod low. The drag set. It can take line. Just about trusting your equipment. This is why, you don't need to spend £1 million on a feeder rod. These Yank and Banks, 70 quid. I would encourage, if you can, to go mid-range or sort of low mid-range rather than super cheap. It's the action. If you see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you got it bends all the way from the butt of the rod right to the end of the rod. It's a lovely soft action. Helps with like the lunges of the fish. Helps you able to control them and risks bumping them off close in, he says, before landing the fish. But this one just seems like a very dead weight just coming in. So a lot of the times you'll find you'll catch smaller fish and they'll go off like they're on fire. Most fish up to around six pound usually go off like they're on fire like that. The bigger fish tend to plod around and sort of slow and steady. There is exceptions to the rule, of course, but this one is just nice and slow and steady. What I'm hoping for is a nice big koi fish, but that would be lovely on camera. but saying it, then again, I'd take a nice mid-sized tench, so you never know. I have had there's some really big fish in here, and I've also myself had some good sized doubles, so you never know. I don't think it's that size, but you never know. You can never tell with these rods. They're so soft and supple. Sometimes it masks. Do you find that as well? And you sort of get a fish in, and you think, sometimes when you're in match you rush it and then you get them and you think, oh, that's not 4 pound. But you know, just take your time.
One of them elusive commons and all.
It could be, yeah. Still not seeing her yet. Well, it's nothing ridiculous, I don't think, but it's still a nice fish, hopefully, to end on. Oh, it's a nice mirror. But this is the point where you see a lot of people with fish, to get fish that are a bit bigger stamp, and to panic and they start throwing, you know, winding crazy, and you know, that's when you end up losing fish at your net. You know, you've got a soft rod, you've got your line set nice on the drag. It's just about letting your gear do the job, and then hopefully demonstrated like that, you end up putting the fish in the back of the net, and that's the main thing. Whether you're pleasure fishing or you're match fishing, that's the most important thing, is that you're getting those decent fish in. It's a lovely fish. I'll just get him unhooked. I would say he's very close to double figures, if not double figures. Beautifully hooked in the lip. I'll get him lifted up for camera. See if he's gonna play a ball. That's a beautiful fish. That's why we do come out and use these feeders. Can be absolutely deadly. Owsten Ferry, fantastic fishery. There's plenty of these, and there's certainly plenty of them bigger than this as well. Let's get him in the net. Right, guys, let's get the keep net out, and we'll see what we've caught. Just bear with me. It's been a nice little session, nice and steady. Not absolutely tons of fish, but quality fish. Not done too bad. Just dragged them all the way to the end for you to have a look at. You can see I've had quite a decent session. Some nice big old fish in there. Let's get them back and we'll end the video. Just get all of these bad boys back. So it's been a pretty windy day and a pretty cold day. We've done really well on this method, so it's definitely worth trying. Owsten Ferry definitely worth a visit. So thanks for watching as always. Join us on the Facebook group at Angling For You. Join us on the Instagram and post those pictures at angling_for_you. Like and subscribe, guys. Share with your friends. Thanks a lot. Tight lines.